All right, we've got an update in the sordid saga of Jeffrey Epstein. So the woman, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, who has accused Prince Andrew of having sex with her when she was 17, of raping her essentially when she was 17, has now given an interview to the BBC where she directly says that he's lying. Let's take a listen.
In the car, Ghislaine tells me that I have to do for Andrew what I do for Jeffrey. And that made me sick. Well, there was a bath, and it started there, and then it led into the bedroom, and it didn't last very long, the whole entire procedure. It was disgusting. He wasn't mean or anything, but he got up and he said thanks and walked out, and I sat there in bed just horrified and ashamed and felt dirty, and I had to get up and go have a shower, and it was a wicked time in my life. It was a really scary time in my life.
Unbelievable. You'll recall that Prince Andrew had given an interview to BBC where he completely denied in a very non-convincing fashion that he'd ever had sex or ever knew her.
He said he didn't even know who she was. And new reporting now from CBS News and a new email in which he emailed, Prince Andrew emailed Ghislaine Maxwell in the year 2015, January 2015, saying that he needed to talk to her at some point about Virginia Roberts. Of course, it doesn't prove that he knew who Virginia Roberts was. This was around the time that Virginia Roberts had been interviewed or at least contacted ABC News, and that, of course, is now famously was quashed by the palace because ABC wanted to get an interview with Will and Kate for the royal wedding. So that shows the priorities that they have there. But it just goes to show, I mean, how much more deep this entanglement goes to the very heart of the royal family. We have reports now that Prince Charles, in particular, has stepped up in this role and was one of the pivotal figures in going to the Queen and saying, hey, like, Prince Andrew needs to go. He cannot be out there representing the royal family and Britain when he's embroiled in this scandal. The family and the palace continued to deny that there was anything that was ever involved between Prince Andrew and Virginia Roberts. But look, I mean, there is a photo of Prince Andrew with his arm wrapped around Virginia Roberts when she's a 17-year-old girl. And he doesn't remember meeting her. He even claimed, he insinuated that that photo was fake in that BBC interview. I mean, what a depraved and disgusting comment whenever you have a literal photo. And so much of this just shows that he's getting away with it. Right? Like, he really is. He's retiring to his hundreds of millions in his little palace. And, I mean, the rest of us are not going to drop the story. We're not. I mean, over and over again, it just shows that there is a lot to be suspect about his version of events.
Well, and there's a couple things here, too. I mean, number one, this sense that because he's a royal and because he's rich, the rules are never going to apply, which is how so many people in his position, whether they're actual royals or they just think of themselves as royals, think of themselves that way. The other piece is, who else? Right? Who else was caught up in all of this?
Right.
You know he was not the only prominent person, person of means, person of power in this world who was caught up in this whole mess. And I want to know also, where are the American news organizations to continue to dig and unearth the whole story here? Because other than a little bit here and there, that story has basically just died along with Jeffrey Epstein.
It's because there's too many people with stakes in the game and in the outcome. There's too much uncertainty. There's too much uncertainty as to who it could uncover. I mean, the more and more we learn, we just see how Epstein was so embedded in the American elite. He tricked Bill Gates into coming to his house after he was a convicted sex offender. He had George Stephanopoulos and Katie Couric and Prince Andrew all at the same dinner after he was a sex offender, donating to the MIT Media Lab. He bought so many different accesses to the American elite that they all just want this thing to go away. His death is the greatest thing that ever happened to them. Now, there's a lot of questions that remain around the circumstances of that death. But what it really comes down to is what you were saying, is that the entrenchment of the American elite into this Epstein story means that so much of the corporate media has just decided that they have to sit down and they won't want anything to do with this. And it just goes how much money can corrupt even the most legitimate activities in our society. It's so disgusting.
That's exactly right. And that's exactly how he was able to get away with it for so long, because no one wanted to look. They all wanted to have an excuse to look the other way.
Yeah, everyone was making money. They were making too much cash, and this is what happened. As you see, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, she was sexually exploited.
Her life
abused.
ruined.
Her life was literally ruined, and nobody could say anything because too many people had too much money to lose.
That's it. We'll keep you updated. More Rising after this.